You should see me when we're off air, the things that we do. I have my own ways of trying to kickstart and trying to get motivated when I'm on air. Not that I'm frightened though, just to keep you in the mood, because maybe there are days when you want to come on air and you are too sad or just not in the right mood to go on air. But for your sake, we have to be in the right spirits. But for all those who help us do the on-air things, just like all of us do both off-air and on-air, etc. I think that we do at the backstage that you never tend to notice. And this is what we decided to do. Decided to see whether we can be a little bit mischievous and get to see what some of the things that people do. I have Michael Anderson here, and one of the protagonists in this whole plot to make sure we uncover some of the naughty things that we do off. And Derek Aposam is also here. Derek, morning. Michaela, morning.
Hello.
Yeah. What do you think it is, or how it will be if the audience get to know that some of the things that go on sometimes are not too palatable?
I'm sure they'll laugh their heads off and they'll think, oh, so this is what actually goes on. Because some people think that, well, we are magicians. You come and sit or stand and then you start reading. They think everything you're saying
is memorized.
Yes.
No, it's never memorized. And Derek, I know you're coming to give us some good insights and also some great recordings you've done. What would they be? What did you consider in putting them together? Well, did you take some people unaware, etc.?
Well, usually when I get out to do a story, I plan the story usually before I go out, especially for the stand-ups. And for me personally, I don't go beyond 2 takes. If I do more than 2 takes, it means I'm not doing any stand-up for the story. So I'll have to get the stand-ups right.
And let's when we say stand-up, is a piece of camera we do. What we say in terms of you seeing us within the stories. Okay, so you have a piece that has been read. The actuality is there, but you have the human being inside. You know, the reporter telling you a part of the story as a whole package.
Listen, for most of them, there are times you write them down before we go out to do them, and there are others where you'll have to do them on the go. For example, if you're covering a demonstration and then usually Abla will give you that pressure. Abla will just call you and go like, echo. Stand in front of the camera. Use the TVU and say, we are here, this, that. And at times I go like, so does it mean that I didn't know I have to do all of this for coming here? But that's the job she has to do. She has to ensure that it is tight on air. So you stand there and then at times you have to speak for like 2 minutes non-stop. And it's English you speak. And there are times you'll have to get like 3 or 4 words coming into your head. And you don't know whether you should say this or say that.
Okay. Now we have one from one of our lead producers here and also one of our great editors, and Martha Crensol-Arthur went to one of the areas, and then we decided to pick some pieces from her work, and so please watch.
Men who are residents of what's the name again? McCarthy Copy, and they mentioned that they don't have water here, so they've gone to fetch water from their source. And I want you to take a look at the kind of water they have, and I'll ask them what they use this water for. Madam, chonfio minkwe. So this is the color. This is it. It's very beautiful. So, madam, what do you use this water for?
We used to cook and drink to, bath to.
The color alone tells me there's a problem with the water. Why do you still use it?
But we don't have some, that's why we are using it.
Okay, so you don't have pipe-borne water in this area?
No, we don't. Yes.
So what are we going to do from here?
Well, this is for the government and then the politician to do something, and then the community, because it's really, really serious.
It's terrible.
We should do something about it.
I hope the assembly actually sees that there is something going on here. As you can see, it's raining and we are drenched in the rain already, but we'll continue this conversation some way, somehow. So I'm not sweating, I'm drenched because I just ran out of the rain, got into the car. Ooh. Okay. Start afresh. Special regards.
Okay. My special regards to Abla and then Mama Fi. I've always enjoyed your company, and I've always prayed for you too, that God should also be with you so that you can do the good work you are doing. You are spreading the good news, spreading the gospel according to saving of women. So God bless you.
God bless you too. We are grateful.
Yeah. Okay, so bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you for your time. Akuma, I can't do mine. What a shock.
So Martha, you know, got drenched and telling us, well, not telling us at the time, but now we're knowing. But how was this? Sometimes you have to get ready for action somewhere, or whether it's in the studio or outside the location, and you just can't put your mind and get your phrases right.
Yeah,
and you just
sometimes.
keep making mistakes throughout. But you bring
especially when you're not in the mood, okay, and you've been asked to go on location and then cover an event that is happening. So on the spur of the moment, you're supposed to gather your thoughts and come up with something, because you are expected to report. And sometimes it's exciting, sometimes it's just frustrating, and you'd have to go over and over and over again. And some of the cameramen will say, well, they are tired. Charlie, can you make sure you get the take right the next time?
You try and get a take, and sometimes it comes on there and said, this really was not my best.
Yeah.
I remember I think recently I went to the Obra Sports, and I went with Sammy, the cameraman, and when in the rain, actually, he was using one hand and then an umbrella. And I kept making mistakes, and then there was this taxi which kept moving behind me, and so we had to stop. And he said, Charlie, my hand, Charlie, make you get this thing right, and then let's move on. So sometimes it's exciting, sometimes it's frustrating.
When you have to cover demonstrations, that's when you really have to think through the things you say, because usually you are moving in a crowd where I think last year I had to cover most of the demonstrations. For the NPP one, like there's a Wangbo demonstration, TVU behind me, Wangbo, TVU behind me, cameraman in front of me, and a pickup that is
Are you
moving.
the one who has the audio? They are chasing us with stones.
No,
Another one.
That should be Latif. And
No, that's not Latif.
oh really?
There's an audio that's circulating throughout the whole of the media.
I'm sure it's
No, it's not Fred.
No, I think it's a guy from another media house.
Okay,
right?
yes.
Oh, okay,
another
yes,
media.
yes.
The one that they
Who spoke to Sepasata.
yes. So TV behind me with the microphone and all of that, then you just have a call from office, Echo, we are going on air, like right now. And apparently, as you are speaking on phone, you're already on air. So you are like this, then they say, Echo, drop the phone. Yes, so we on the main circle road, you are moving to what, and
then you just can't put your thoughts right.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes you about 30 minutes before into the thing. Then you get to realize that the thing I said 20 seconds ago was wrong.
Yeah, and then
It takes you about 30 seconds, really. Especially when you're taking off guard. But let's watch MFA. And MFA too had an experience, and would want you to take a look.
Richard is the elder brother of Christopher.
Let's take it again about him.
Okay, so this is his account of the incident.
Yes.
Okay, we are listening.
So after he went home, they called him to come back.
Let's go. Continue.
Please don't cut me again, but the Kukuno, I know you are about it. I'm a new sport time that I'm not doing the story as the. Richard, tell us what happened on the 4th of April with regards to your brother Christopher.
Frustrating. frustrated.
Yeah, but when she came, brought the story as if everything was
Everything
all right.
was okay.
And it gets frustrating at times, especially when you don't have a cameraman who understands that you need to do a stand-up. There are others who feel that you just want to do the stand-up because
You just don't sort the you just don't sort your crew out.
oh no, we sort them out. We sort them out, but it depends on how they feel on the day of the shoot. If they are in a happy mood, they flow with you like that. But if they are hungry and you are taking too much time to get your stand-up done, they tell you, "All
right." So we decided to speak to MFA, get her own account as to why she felt so frustrated.
My name is Martha, and my colleague MFA is here with me. We are sitting by an editing machine, and we are going to do something very nice. You heard something at the background. Okay, my colleague MFA was the one who covered the 16-year-old boy who was brutalized by 3 military officers. Now, she's sharing the behind the scenes of her story with me in the newsroom. So, first of all, MFA, Aish. Okay, I heard something right now. Please don't cut me. Tell me the story behind. Don't.
Okay. So this was the fateful day when we had Christopher and his brother, coming to Joy FM studio to complain about some brutalities. Two security officials had meted out, so they needed the military to address the issue. So that day, I needed to speak to Richard to get the story properly, and I had arranged with the cameraman, one of my colleagues, to get the recording done. Now, after we had set up and then having had the conversation around how to do the recording with my guest, let's go, starting the first intro, which I did smoothly, thinking that it will run till the end, only for the cameraman to tell me that cut. I was like, really? I didn't understand. And then for what I get, I observed that he didn't frame properly, so he wanted to reframe. Okay, so on my second trial, and then after 2 minutes of smooth introduction, he tells me again, MFA cut. I was like, really? Jonas, what are you doing? When I checked, apparently there was no audio in all that I was doing. I was like, Jonas, I was getting fed up. Then, with a lot of patience, I decided to continue. On the third account, only for him to ask me.
No, but why were you so, fed up? Is it just because they've been sitting there looking at you?
No,
it looked like you didn't know what you were doing. No, you had a production waiting.
Yeah, I had a 10 o'clock news production. There was a bulletin waiting for me at 10. And at the time we were doing the recording, it was around 9. It was past 9, like 9:20 thereabouts. I had technically 40 minutes to get everything together. And this was one of my biggest stories, And to think that I was now coming to do the recording, seats package to what I want, and he's delaying me. He didn't seem to feel the urgency of what I was doing.
Just looking at your face here, MFA, you look so frustrated. It's not funny. And I know how embarrassing it will look like. I can see the gentleman.
Martha, you know how it is like when you want to do stand-ups or even introductions, when you are having this one-on-one interview. Sometimes just a word, it could be a grammar, something can spoil a whole 1 minute, 2 minutes of your recording, then you would want to take it again. It's time wasting. And then, so if you get the opportunity to run through smoothly,
only if I told it didn't record, there was no sound.
You go like, are you serious? Yeah. So honestly, I was getting frustrated, and time was far against me.
You didn't want to give up on the story
at all.
So you needed to get it done.
So I needed to warn him that after that takeout.
Even during this very episode, she had another encounter. Just watch.
But if it's an exclusive, you kiss it goodbye.
Yeah, and
have you made an excuse to an interviewee to say, okay, please, I think we had a problem before we got to the office, everything was gone, so please, let's rebook the interview and redo before?
Yeah, I think I've had that experience before, and it was a very long time ago. I had the opportunity to speak to the former president of the Pharmaceutical Association of Ghana. I think I've forgotten the name. He's in charge of this glaucoma Awareness Association. It was an hour one-on-one with him at his residence, only to get back Have we finished?
Only to get back. Only to get back. What?
But you are doing like that.
It is Martha. We've taken you once, so I'm telling Martha it's okay. People are talking too much.
Okay, so we finish.
We are finished actually.
Only so.
Valentina, I didn't feel it. I didn't record anything. I thought you are rehearsing. You are doing some small rehearsals.
I wish I was the one standing.
Oh, you are behaving like Jonas right now.
I'll have the camera behind the camera to tell everybody that this one too we did and we finished and he said.
Somebody wants to know who Abla is because Abla is always permitting our conversations. But you also had an experience and you want to introduce an insert for us?
Yes, actually I was asked to go to the conference center and that day I think the, should I say, what word should I use? There was this debate about whether Anas should televise his documentary on the scandal and all that, and I was asked to go there. I went there, and then I was denied access to the place, so it means I had to stand outside and do the stand-up from outside, and it was something I just couldn't get my thoughts around.
So that's what you want us to watch?
Yes.
Okay, let's watch that one. Michaela's experience.
Right behind me is the Accra International Conference Center, the venue for the much-touted latest expose by Anas Arumia Anas on judicial corruption in the country. Hundreds of people are expected to throng this venue to watch the latest investigative piece by Anas Arumia Anas. Okay, when I do it, don't cut and let it just roll, okay? Easy. Okay. I can say that I've been here for more than an hour and no shop has been opened here at the Abossey Complex, spare parts complex, my favorite. The interesting thing about this footbridge is that it's disability friendly. It is expected that when the I's are dotted, T's crossed, and the project is commissioned, the accident rate on this road would drastically reduce. How many of you?
Charlie, work is difficult.
So I had to take it over again.
Yeah. For me, when I was actively reporting, if I do it 3 times, I mean, and I don't get it, I won't do it again.
Yeah, I think
that means that my insert is off. That piece of camera would never be done. Yeah. But that was my personal principle. So
yeah, and for me,
introduce something for you. You have something that.
Yeah. I went to Kumasi, I think last month. I had to do something from Abuabo. There's this big drain that is filled with sand, and so the liquid waste cannot flow out. I had to do the stand-up, and in the middle I got stuck. I think we could also watch that one. Beside this gutter is this heap of sand. Residents tell me this was collected from where I stand, from this gutter, to ensure that the liquid waste in here would have access routes and then will go out of this particular gutter. But what I also see is that it's been left uncollected, and you can also see that the sand is gradually sifting back into the gutter, making way for me to stand here, ironically. But the residents say they are not happy about this situation. They have vowed to go to all lengths to ensure that this heap of sand is taken away from this place. They say that as residents, they will also ensure strict adherence. They say that as residents, they will also ensure strict adherence to the sanitation laws. They also admit that they have a part to play in ensuring that this thing becomes a thing of the past, and so they would and so they would also make sure they comply with all the rules. They would hold their leaders accountable. They are asking government to come to their aid to desilt this gutter of the filth that has currently filled it, so that the liquid waste would have access to go out. They tell me not too long ago the place was flooded, and they are afraid that should it rain.
I was just saying he speaks very fast. Ekakati. You are in Kumasi saying Ekakati. What trouble talking?
No, the guy who was recording, Gilbert is a Gang guy, so we speak Gang most of the time.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you just sometimes you just speak a local language that is. But it's about, most of the time it's about learning to manage people, because you have a cameraman, you have a driver, you have if there are sound people, that is if the person is accompanying, and then you have people around you have to manage. Do you think we draw lessons from that, how to manage people's egos?
Yes, we do that, because you need to make them understand that the work has to be done. And so they have to understand this is what you're doing. You get them to understand. You get them moving. You know, if you have to buy porridge for everybody, for them to get them in the mood,
from your own
you
pocket.
do that. Yes, and it's exciting. It's fun to work like that.
Can imagine when you're broke that day.
If you're broke, then you'll have to do just one take and make sure that it goes really right. And then there are times you'll have to know which person you are moving out with. So even before,
it means you discriminate.
Oh, no,
not
really.
entirely so, but you'll have to know the temperament of the person at that time too, and so that will determine the number of takes you would do. Quite recently, I had to go do the story from Elwak, and we had done the story. I had planned this killer stand-up in my head that I knew that this one I'll kill it. So we walk in, and then I get there and I see the
one time
when you are rough. I see the people gathered there, and I tell then the camera guy Jata says, "Oh, okay, so go and stand in the middle of the people and then walk down and talk." Okay, fine. So let's go. Walk, get to where the people are. Then I say, Charlie, this one I can't do the stand-up. Because I've seen a lot of people, and I'm like, for the first time I was shy, I was scared.
You were
all eyes on you.
Fright.
Yes, I was frightened. I'm like, really? Stage fright. So I did that story without a stand-up. But the stand-up would have been killer.
All right, so we have to call it a morning, but most of the time we get it right.
Yes, you have to get the work done.
Yeah,
you have to make sure you
most of the time we get it right.
Yeah.
There are times...
Or most of the time, just one take. Because you do your research on the...
But the others will do like 8 or 9 takes.
Okay, I will always advise you though, coming to you as a senior.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Always make sure that you put it shouldn't be long, and put it in writing. And chew on, make it chew on, man. And make your rehearsal before you go. You hear what I talk?
Yeah.
Okay. Make una know my will. We be so know we they do that, but don't worry. But that's how it goes with us, and we hope that you're enjoying the holiday. What will you be doing for the holiday?
Working.
All your dressing or working.
It's for work.
I remember this morning when I started the car, and I'm like, my father goes like,
Charlie, my brother.
It's my pan you into holiday
Them not it. All right, so we have to call it a morning, and thanks all of you giving us a lot more of the messages. So let me just read a couple more. You know, for somebody who lives in Konongo and loves classical music, that's awesome. I apologize. According to Ablanche, I apologize greatly. And Ishak Tamale, where's my wife? The show is incomplete today. Oh, she's a bit under the weather. Holiday, not well, and we know. And then also, you say you love the show. You are a musician, and really, music is food to the soul, and classical restores anything broken to be rebuilt. And that's from Danny Afa from Bawe. Thank you, Danny. And then we have what do the reporters go through when they make mistakes? Do they think that it makes them less incompetent?
No, you just have to take
Not at all.
the thing all over again, and it's that's professional.
Yeah, it's true. That's professional.
We keep
all
it
right.
for Sam.
Thanks for joining me. And Derek Ekosam is a gentleman here, the man with the best glass, Ray-Ban glass that we can ever find.
I also have one.
Yeah, Ray-Ban. But Michaela, please do me the honest. The way you shudder this morning, holiday, take sit for office. Please wrap up show for we.
Okay, so this has been the AM show on Joy News on Multi TV. Catch you later tomorrow.
Bye.